ask yourself how they built these big bells? I mean, when you see the tonnage, 116 tons. And that one I think is the same bell. No, that was 116. Size of them. This one, 216 tons. How did they build that and carry that around in those days? Yeah, I'm doing this video with Amy too because I told Amy about the... Looked it up, didn't you, Amy?
That's right, I did.
Have you ever heard of the Fugo balloons before?
No, I had never heard of them.
Just to recap, and then you're going to read a bit out to us, that so basically, Pearl Harbor came, America retaliated to Japan, bombed Japan, and then as a response, Japan decided to send these balloons to the Pacific, to California, and they went to Canada and with all these packages on it in the winds, and then they landed in America. But Amy's going to explain it, aren't you, Amy?
Oh, yes. This is from the National Museum of the United States Air Force. And it says that it was prompted by the Doolittle raid on Tokyo in April of 1942. The Japanese developed the balloon bombs as a means of direct reprisal against the U.S. mainland. The balloons, made of paper or rubberized silk, carried anti-personnel and incendiary bombs. And it said the first one was in November of 1944. And then 2 days later, a U.S. Navy boat spotted a balloon floating on the water off the coast of Japan. Japan launched some 9,000 balloons during a 5-month period to be carried by high-altitude winds more than 6,000 miles eastward across the Pacific to North America. Perhaps 1,000 of these reached this continent, but there were only about 285 reported incidents. Most were reported in the northwest United States, but some balloons traveled as far east as Michigan. And so it said that as more sightings occurred, the government, and with the cooperation of the news media, adopted a policy of silence to reduce the chance of panic among U.S. residents and to deny the Japanese any information on the success of the launches. Discouraged by the apparent failure of their effort, the Japanese halted their balloon attacks in April of 1945.
So how long was it going for, Amy?
So it started in November 3rd, 1944, and then it ended in April of 45. It says they stopped their balloon attacks, but on May 5th of 1945, 6 picnickers were killed in Oregon when a balloon bomb they dropped from the woods exploded. They quickly publicized the balloon bombs, warning people not to tamper with them. These were the only known fatalities occurring within the U.S. during World War II as a direct result of enemy action. So, it says the actual damage was minor, but this incendiaries that these balloons carried did pose a serious threat to the northwestern U.S. forests during dry months. These balloons also offered a vehicle for germ warfare if the Japanese had decided to employ this weapon. So...
Well, just at this moment, Amy, I'm just going to stop this video. I'm just going back to that bit there because it's just incredible. So... we're looking at a picture with the balloons on top. Then there's like a chandelier thing with all the bits hanging on all the way around it. So imagine how long it would have taken, with bags of sand on it, which would come off at certain times to make the balloon go higher to cross the water. And you look at it and you think, that's CGI or something.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Oh, it is.
Sorry, have you finished, Amy, on your wording? Have you finished that bit?
Yeah, pretty much. It just said that the balloon attacks began after the air defense facilities in the U.S. had been deactivated, and that the Army and Navy flew intercept missions to shoot down the balloons when sighted, and to look out for any forest fires that might have been sparked by it, and supplies of decontamination chemicals and sprays to counter any possible use of germ warfare were quietly distributed in the western U.S. before detailed defensive plans had been put into effect. The attacks ceased. So that's it about it. But
well, I've got a few things to say to that. Amy's seen them. Look at the photographs. They look like they've come from the First World War, not the Second.
Yes.
And then also, they said paper silk. But it's not silk, it's paper. This balloon was made out of paper.
Yes.
And then the other thing is, look at the whole shape of this chandelier thing holding all the sandbags. And, I mean, that is just ridiculous.
Is it?
And you know what they look like? Satyr balloons.
Yeah.
And also, these balloons went from Japan over to California, which we know it can't do. So it was obviously the Americans setting off some satyr balloons for themselves. It was, and then they decided to say it was Japan or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's use that story. We'll give you had the balloons and we got them. That's the cut.
Right.
What we were really doing.
Yeah.
Pictures are so old. I mean, sorry, this is the 1940s. You've seen pictures from the 1940s much better than these things. They're all black and white.
Yes.
But anyway, anything else you'd like to say, Amy?
I just think it's interesting that they kept it quiet because they said they didn't want to panic and they didn't want Japan to know they were successful. And then they finally publicized it after these. Well, Japan stopped doing it, and then the U.S. publicized it after these people having a picnic saw the balloon, or were killed, actually. Were killed in Oregon when the balloon bomb they dragged from the woods exploded. So that's when the government quickly publicized the balloon bombs. It just sounds like more of their shenanigans, just with showing people things. One minute they don't want to show it, the next minute they are showing it, and just probably causing a lot of fright. But I never heard of it in my own
Not
life.
until I told you.
Yes.
It's on the internet, Amy.
Yeah, so I know it's always something that comes up. But we're in the East Coast, so
look at that.
I mean, we wouldn't have been affected as much, but I still don't see why we wouldn't have heard about it.
Well, I never heard it. It was on the Abandoned History. I told you when I watched that, I make my videos. Like the Bell one came from there.
Okay.
Even on the Bell one, they said ringing the bells. Michael Portillo going, I can't hear myself, and then these guys going, but this can cure headaches. Right? He's going, I can't hear anything except the bell. The Bell one I did from there, and this one, I just couldn't believe it. I was thinking, is that really abandoned engineering? But I can't imagine the balloons would have gone that high either. It's all just a load of rubbish. Look at that.
Yes.
9,000 balloons. It would take 30 to 60 hours to get there. I don't think so.
Oh, I know.
I mean, these balloons could have been sent off to work out what shape we were.
Oh, that's true.
Remember, I believe we're on a star map of some kind.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they set the balloons off.
Yes, that's a good
Let's see
point.
how big the United States really is with Canada on it.
Yes.
I saw it was more of a cartoon version of America, but it stuck America right at sea, and you think, that's not how they've shown us America is. We're there with Florida at the bottom, like it sticks right out.
Yes.
But I just think, you can never believe anything, but of course we've seen this now, and all the pictures are very old, like I say. It looks like the First World War, Amy. It's ridiculous.
Yes, I agree.
Well, it's probably another little lie, but we keep finding these little things, and when we do, I have to put it out.
That's right.
But I'm glad that Amy had, well, I'm not glad, but I'm reassured that Amy had not seen it either, like I hadn't, like, until today. Air balloons coming from Japan. Hitting America and causing all this. Really, they were so small, I can't imagine that they'd have caused that much destruction, to be honest.
No, it's just bananas.
It's always bananas. But anyway,
yes.
At least you did something out that you didn't know today.
Exactly, that's right. I've learned something a bit new today.
Yeah, you have to tell your sister, like, what's this? I made this with Karen today. Guess what we had? I've never heard anybody talk about these ever before in my life.
Oh, me neither.
But that doesn't mean that they're not real, but I've never heard of them before. But do you think that's enough, Amy?
I think so, Karen, yes.
Yeah, so those pictures are from lovely Shepu, who puts masses out. I love what he does. But I just wanted to show you that. Me and Amy, actually, I may as well say, Amy's here again. Aren't you, Amy?
Hello, beautiful Karen and everyone.
Poor Amy. I said, shh, be quiet, Amy. And then I've asked her to come in because Amy was there when we looked at a hurricane, weren't you, Amy, in America? And the most bizarre thing is the hurricane only happened a few hours before, but all the roads are clear with the devastation on the land.
Yes.
It's the same thing,
yeah,
Amy.
Right.
There's devastation, piles of rubble everywhere. So all the buildings have been ruined, but the roads are okay.
Yes, that makes no sense.
How can that be that the roads are okay with devastation coming right up to the edges, but the roads are okay? And one other bit, Amy. You know, sometimes they say that they are knocking things down. Sometimes they're saying in the pictures they're building it. But I just find this one quite incredible that he's found. So all this devastation. But there's a train track in it, Amy. So what? Somebody came along and made a higgledy-piggledy train track. Look, they've got all this stuff here. What's all this? But
yeah,
everywhere's devastated, but they managed to get a train track in there, or a tram, or whatever it is, with all this devastation. And I could never work out whether any of the pictures are real or not. I just look at it and I think, you know, we thought that a lot of these buildings were just all stone, and through looking at these pictures, let's just find another one. Yes, what is this? Looks like a Zeppelin hangar with all the people in it, with all the sort of rubbish that they're trying to assemble into things or something. I don't know that, Amy. Great big light up here, like wow, look at that, that's a hangar. Even here, look at that one. The road is collapsing. We don't often see that very much, do you? But nothing's crashed. The light's still there, but everything's caving in with the brick roads. It goes down. Look at that. It's probably tunnels or whatever. And now I don't even know where it is. But yeah, that's a good picture, that one. It just seems quite ironic here that there's a bomb site. Well, you know, all the building have been. And also kept a light that didn't get touched, and all, not this at all. I just don't get it myself. Yeah, this might actually be San Francisco, but this is when we realised, when we thought that they were just stone or brick. And inside these buildings there is metal. How did they do that? Right back then. But quite amazing. Don't you think, Amy?
Yes. Yes, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Looking at rubble, Amy. Amy can't see this picture at the moment, but you're looking at rubble on the right. Buildings all sort of ruined. Rubble on the left. But you've still got the road. Well, I'm not saying it's all the road, but you've still got the road. Like, boof, boof. But we'll leave a bit of road in the middle so you can get through. There'll be no damage on there. Don't you think that's ironic? Look at it. All the buildings have been destroyed, but there's a bit of road in the middle that's okay.
Exactly.
There's always a bit of road that's okay, isn't there, Amy?
Yeah, that's right.
We saw it in that hurricane, didn't we?
Yes, exactly. It's just, it's really crazy. and it should tell us something about what's really going on in these things.
Yes, Amy. So anyway, we've got a nice little swan swimming past in the water, and look, there's only half a structure. Where's the rest of it? There's buildings in the background, you know, like look like greenhouses, big greenhouses or something, or whatever that is in the background. But only half a building here. I mean, but anyway, the Antiquitech. See, it's even got metal in it, and they made it look. I just don't get that, Amy. I just don't get that.
Oh, I know. I don't either.
You know, we were saying that they were brick and all that with the stone cladding on the outside, but inside's metal. So they were, you know, we thought, it's like, how old are these buildings? Anyway, there's only half of one there. I can't even tell if that's real, because where's the rest of the building? Not a big pile on the floor, is there? And half this building's standing, and it's a bit like, you've got the roads with nothing on it, half a building there, no safety. I just don't get any of it. I just don't get it at all. But what's your thoughts, Amy?
Well, I just think there's so much that we don't really know about what they have really done and what they do today. It's one thing, but then it doesn't add up. You look at
no, that's what I did when I went to look up the World Trade Fair and the Olympics. One said one was a flop and they couldn't get the athletes in, and the other one had nearly 19 million and they were in the same place. So how does that work out? So you can, and I think that's why. Remember, I said I was obviously spoke to Amy, told her about the video, and then YouTube copyrighted it. But I thought they would, and I had to do it again, and there was no reason, because you know. But they liked it because I've noticed the anomaly. All you've got to do is wake up, go and do your own research, and see how nothing adds up. It doesn't, does it, Amy?
It doesn't. It really doesn't add up. Like all these beautiful buildings and all this architecture, and then they supposedly made that in the days of horses and carts. So how could they do that?
And I already did all that. Remember, with all the videos, but nothing really. What it is like nearly 1,000 years went past. We still had wheels, you know, on carts, but maybe at the start we had wooden ones, and by the end they might have had a bit of track on them, you know. But we hadn't really moved much. You know, guns are the same. This whole thing's just. It's like there seems no history at all, but while all that's happening, that we didn't really move on. We've got star forts, thousands of castles, buildings underground, steps which go down, you know, in that one with Devon, they just went down like an inside, they were walking down a pyramid inside. How do they do all these things? It's just like major architecture, and there's no plans or anything, and we were in horses and carts, which is just ridiculous.
Exactly.
It's just mind-boggling, isn't it? Because, you know, when you watch the television, or you like your politics or whatever it is, you watch it and you go, oh yeah, that's it, that's the answer, that's what I believe, I've got it now. And then about 30 years later you think, what do you mean it's all a load of rubbish? Which it is.
Oh,
and you believe this existence, and it's like believing we went to the moon.
Oh no. Yeah.
It kind of makes you angry as well, doesn't it, Amy? That's what I believe, I've got it now. 30 years later you think, what do you mean it's all a load of rubbish? Which it is.
Oh,
and you believe this existence, and it's like believing we went to the moon.
Oh no. Yeah.
It kind of makes you angry as well, doesn't it, Amy?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to move on with the videos and put the pictures on. Anything else you want to say, Amy?
Oh, I think that's all, Karen.
Yes, down with history, because it's a load of rubbish.
Right.
Anyway, thanks for helping me, even though you didn't know you were doing it.
Oh, you're welcome, Karen.
Thank you, my darling.
You're welcome, darling.